10 incredible concept cars we never got. Hello and welcome back to MIA Luxury Cars. For today's video, we are going to talk about the 10 incredible concept cars we've never got. Let's get started. Dodge Ram TRX. It was designed in 1997, 2 years after Post Malone was born, meaning it predates the Hennessy 6x6. It predates the Raptor. In fact, you might even say it's prehistoric. Now, just like a TRX has 3 arms, this truck had 3 axles and 6-wheel drive. It also had a big Magnum V10 engine from the Ram 3500. Unfortunately, the big wigs and the rich main offices at Dodge said that it was too awesome to produce, but there's a twist to this tale. A conspiracy theory, if you will. Dodge was owned by Mercedes at that time of the TRX. Mercedes decided, hey, we can't build these 6-wheel dinosaur trucks. Then 10 years later, Mercedes made a 6x6 version of the G-Wagon. Coincidence? Look at the facts. Connect the dots. Nissan MID4. Back in 1985, Nissan unveiled a car that they said would be a competitor for Porsche and Ferrari. It was called the MID4. It was designed to receive a brand new V6, and the V6 was going to be mounted behind the driver and sideways. MID4 was also supposed to get all-wheel drive and 4-wheel steering. Really cool for that time. Then in 1987, they made another one. They called it the MID4-2, and the one that has 2 turbos on it. If they weren't going to make it, then why did they make a second one that was even cooler? Like a lot of concept cars, Nissan never actually planned to make this thing. It was meant to be a design study to showcase their cool technology and something that resembled a road-going car. It's like a mannequin at Old Navy where they just put an outfit on it. That's basically what a lot of these concept cars are. Mannequins at Old Navy where they put all the outfits on them. Old Navy has the coolest mannequins and the most relaxed fit jeans. The cool fact though, the MID4's twin-turbo V6 did end up getting used in the Z32-300ZX. The AVUS QUATTRO. The Audi Quattro was the sickest Audi of the 80s. So when they stopped making it in 1991, it was a big deal. Question was, could Audi next car revolutionize the industry like the Quattro's all-wheel drive system did way back in 1980s? What was Audi going to come up with next? The answer was the Audi AVUS Quattro. Look at this thing. It looks like it's from Will Smith movie about a bunch of iRobots. It looks like it's from the future, but in reality, it's from the past. The design was apparently influenced by Audi's Streamliners, which were their land speed record cars from 1930s. This shiny little concept that couldn't had an all-aluminum space frame chassis, making it incredibly light and strong. His bones are wide, but they're hollow like a bird. It only weighs like 84 pounds, but he can deadlift like 850. This car was supposed to be powered by a 502 horsepower W12 engine, but when it debuted at the 1991 Tokyo Motor Show, the engine was just a wooden model because they didn't get the real one done in time, sadly. It was just not meant to be. The recession of the early 90s led Audi to shelve the AVUS project. It wasn't a total bust though. The aluminum frame and W12 did both find their way into the 1994 Audi A8. Honda HPX. Honda HPX is one of the most recognizable concept cars ever made. Pininfarina, the pips behind some of the most beautiful cars ever made, Honda asked to design them a car that would show the world how capable this Japanese company was. At this time in the late 80s, Honda was still known more for its fast bikes and slow cars. So this was a big swing. This was a big deal. Pininfarina put their Ferrari designs away from a few months and whipped up the HPX, which is short for Honda Pininfarina Experimental. HPX featured a mid-mounted V6 V6, which was basically a Honda Formula 2 V8 with 2 cylinders chopped off. The coolest thing about the HPX was its fighter jet style, Pete. It has a single-piece plexiglass bubble that will slid forward when you want it to get in and out of the car. Volkswagen W12. Volkswagen has a long history of making really good economy cars with a fun little twist, and that's why it was so surprising when they teased the world with a W12 Nardo in 1997. It was named after Nardo Ring, VW's test facility where this very car smashed 12 speed records in a 24-hour test. During this test, the V12 maintained an average speed of 200.6 miles per hour. Volkswagen chief at that time was Ferdinand Piëch offered that VW has a supercar in this feat. It borrowed the technology for its W12 engine from the AVUS, which we just talked about. This is a circle and it was designed by Giorgetto Giugiaro, the genius, the legendary designer behind some of the most beautiful and innovative cars in the history of cars. I am talking about the BMW M1 and the Daewoo Lanos. Obviously, a W12 powered supercar was going to cost a lot of money, but even Piëch didn't realize how much money it was actually going to cost. That is way too many beans and they vetoed the project. But there is a happy ending to this story because in 1998, Piëch convinced the VW board to purchase Bugatti. So in the years that follow, VW turned over their W12 technology to Bugatti, and it was that technology and development which led to the Veyron. Steinwinter SuperCargo. Now this next car is not at all a supercar but very much a semi-truck. The Steinwinter SuperCargo was designed and built in Stuttgart and they debuted at the Frankfurt Motor Show in 1983. The idea behind this pretty awesome looking vehicle was to reduce the footprint of semis on the world's roads. Normal semi-trucks are big trucks and big bricks aren't very aerodynamic, especially when they're big. Also, the gap between the cab and the trailer creates a lot of drag. This thing had a big Mercedes diesel that made 753 torques, and the whole thing was only a half-inch taller than a Lamborghini Huracan, which is a very short car. The thing could carry a fully loaded shipping container on its roof while towing another one behind it. Unfortunately, this bad boy has its flaws. The driver's vision was really bad compared to a regular semi, which sits high up and has huge windows, and it turns out that Lambos aren't the most practical height for towing shipping containers. Reliability was also an issue. I mean, the stress put on trucks is incredible, with engines and chassis expected to go like a million miles just to the minor maintenance. Sadly, SuperCargo just couldn't cut it. Mercedes pulled their funding, and that's all it took for the semi-truck of the future to become a concept of the past. Just like all great ideas, this one refused to die, and it finally got its rightful place in history when it was featured in Power Rangers Time Force, which is basically the coolest thing that could ever happen to anybody. Mazda RX-Vision. The Mazda RX-Vision was released at a Tokyo Motor Show in 2015 and was meant to be a glimpse into the future of Mazda sports car, obviously drawing inspiration from their long line of incredibly successful road and race cars. The RX-Vision was a long, sleek front-engine rear-wheel drive beastie with a Ferrari engine. That's a good-looking car. It was designed using the Kodo philosophy. What is the Kodo philosophy, you ask? Well, Mazda designers try to make cars unencapsulated the beauty of life in the hope that by doing so, they can give the car a soul. Did I mention that this thing had a rotary? Despite all the positive and all the cool stuff, the beauty and the rotary and all that, it just wasn't meant to be. The RX-Vision never made it into production, which sucks because this car would have been phenomenal. MERCURY Montego Sports Shawler. You guys probably don't remember the Mercury Montego. It was a mid-size sedan released all the way back in the grandpa times in 1968. It was powered by a range of Ford V8s and was available as a 4-door sedan, a 2-door hardtop, and a 4-door station wagon, or a 2-door convertible. But one Montego that never made it to the market was this one, the Sports Hauler. Unveiled at the 1972 Detroit Auto Show, the Sports Hauler looked like a Montego from the front but carried a surprise in the back. This had a compartment behind the 2 front seats that had an ATV in it, and the ATV looks like a moon rover. The rear window and the deck lid opened electronically. Then a tailgate dropped to the ground to form a ramp. Nissan IDx. The Datsun 510 is a great little car. In 2013, Nissan released this 21st century reimagining of the 510, and the car community went wild. The IDx concept was marketed by Nissan as their answer to the rear-wheel drive tuner craze, and they claimed that it could be a direct competitor for cars like Hyundai Genesis, Coupe, and the GT86 BRZ FRS. The Nismo edition was set to have the same 230 horsepower engine from Juke Nismo, which somehow did get made. Nissan said they were going to make it. Journalists were even allowed to drive the fully functioning concept car. Both younger Max and younger me were trying to figure out how long it would take them to depreciate until we could afford one. But as we know all too well from those other cars on this list, hype doesn't always turn into sales. And when Nissan ran the numbers on this relatively pricey concept, it just wasn't a viable option to be produced. It's such a shame that this thing never got made because Toyota had already proven that there was a market for front-engine rear-wheel drive sports cars with GT86. Dodge Copperhead. The Copperhead was first shown at the 1997 North American Auto Show and was envisioned as a smaller, more affordable version of the Dodge Viper. Sounds awesome. So, not only did Dodge shrink down the proportions of the Viper, giving the Copperhead a perfect baby Viper look, they also added aero, which would help the Copperhead to get the most out of its modest 220 horsepower V6 motor. It was low and wide, which gave it excellent handling overall, but by far the best part of the Copperhead was that came with a 5-speed manual and a rear-wheel drive. It would have been an American Miata. It was going to be priced at around $30,000. That's $45,000 less than a Viper. Bill E. Gibbons, the guitarist for ZZ Top, had built and customized 1950s Ford Coupe and registered it at the Ford Copperhead with a K, and they had to rename the car the Dodge concept car to keep from getting the legal battle. At that time, Dodge was owned by a Daimler, and Mercedes had their own small drop-top sports car, the SLK, which was selling well in America. So that also contributed to the Copperhead not being made. But the main reason that the Copperhead didn't get made was because of the SUV. Dodge wanted to focus on more lucrative ideas of the market. So they decided to shelve the Copperhead and gave us the Dodge Durango. Dodge would use some of the Copperhead stylings when they redesigned the Viper in 2003 for the second generation, and then even made a limited run of 300 Copperhead Vipers in 2005. Now, what can you say about these concept cars that we never got? Please let me know by leaving a comment below. And if you enjoyed this video, please press the like button, turn on the notification bell, and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Thank you for stopping by to watch. See you on our next video.